My sister got married on Friday. She and I are twins, so we are very close and best friends. She is child-free and I have 2 kids, 3M and 1M. Obviously, she loves her nephews and she never mistreated them, but she is not a person who would accept being a babysitter for a day. She has never offered to help with anything, though it's her choice and I respect it. Not surprisingly, her marriage was child-free even for the family. She asked me to be her MO and I accepted. I was responsible for a few things at the ceremony and party, nothing complex, but I asked another bridesmaid for help, so she was also on top of everything. My children stayed with my in-laws while my husband and I went to the wedding. About 10 minutes before everything started, I was there for 2 hours. My in-laws called saying that my youngest hit his head while playing with my oldest and that they were taking him to the hospital. I despaired, even though they said he was conscious, my heart was not at peace nor my husband's, so we decided to go to the hospital. I talked to the bridesmaid and explained everything I had to do, she accepted, and when it was time to talk to my sister, she had a meltdown, saying that I couldn't go at the most important moment in her life and if I was choosing him instead her. I got really irritated and said, yes, I choose my son in the hospital. I left with her cursing me. My son is fine, but he got 2 stitches without any internal trauma. They did exams, but we only left the hospital the other day because they preferred to put him under observation because he's very young. I preferred to stay away from my cell phone just like my husband. When I got home, I got several calls from different people and I answered when I saw my sisters. She asked before how my son was, and when she learned that it was a minor injury, she started screaming, saying that I abandoned her at the most important moment in her life and that she was without a family in her own marriage, no parents and grandparents. I left my responsibilities to a person who did everything wrong and caused an embarrassment, and to make matters worse, I didn't even want to show up since my husband could stay in the hospital while I would at least share this moment with her. She called me several names until my husband took the cell phone out of my hand and told her to go to hell. I really could have at least gone to the party, but I wasn't going to make it knowing my baby is in the hospital. I can't help but feel bad for my sister. Am I the idiot? This is one of those inevitable hurt feelings that aren't really anyone's fault situations. You had no choice but to go to your son's side. Head trauma can be really scary, especially when it's a child. Your sister is entitled to her hurt feelings about not having family on her wedding day, but she's overreacting and taking it out on you when you couldn't help it. Not the idiot, and you're right, your son's health and wellness are more important than your siblings' feelings. Not the idiot. She started screaming saying that I abandoned her. She'd rather have you leave your child abandoned to stay with this grown woman? She's an idiot. To quote my boss, literally 3 hours ago, if your family had a problem and you weren't distracted by it, I'd think less of you. This was part of him saying that he'd rather we just tell him if we have a problem than try to internalize it or go to someone else in the team, because if he doesn't know, he can't give us any support. This? Also, I guess I'm the only person who doesn't see stitches and a concussion as a minor injury. I mean, it could have been life-threatening. Not the idiot. Your sister needs to chill. Yes, it ended up being a minor injury, but it could have been worse. Always better to be safe than sorry. She sounds a bit like a Britazilla. Her first concern, earlier in the post when you left the wedding, was that you'd abandoned her and not whether your child was okay. I get that her day is important, but she's showing you where her priorities lie. Minor injuries do not require stitches. Nor do they require being kept at the hospital for observation. Minor in the sister's eyes. I, 30M, have a beautiful wife who loves to serve others. We bought a home down the street from my family. I have a sweet sister, 17, who likes to crash at our house with her friends. My wife normally is pretty easygoing until recently. My sister's friends have been leaving messes. Mostly towels on the floor after using our pool. My wife got upset picking up after them every day. I have asked my sister to make sure the house is clean after they leave, and it has been better. My wife also complained that some of her perfumes, clothes, and personal items have gone missing. My sister said it was not her. I believe my sister. I just don't see her doing that. I told my wife and we agreed to just replace them. Last week my wife made a couple of pans of cinnamon rolls from scratch. One pan was for us, the second pan was for a co-worker's family who is experiencing a tragedy. My wife went to the gym. I went to work and my sister and her friends came by. The one pan wasn't enough for her and her friends. They wanted the second pan of cinnamon rolls, and my sister texted my wife asking if they could eat them. My wife said no. They ate them anyways. My wife was upset and went and bought new locks. When I came home, my wife handed me a new key and told me that she didn't want anyone else to have a key to our house. I tried to calm her down and tell her that I would just go replace the eaten cinnamon rolls with store-bought ones. My wife decided this was her hill to die on and said no, my sister lost the privilege to come when we are not home. Replacing stolen items wasn't good enough anymore. My mom called and asked if my sister could use the pool as a back-to-school party. I was under the impression my mom would be there. I said yes, my mom was at work and our schedules clashed. The easiest solution was for me to change the locks back so they could come into the house. My mom didn't come with my sister. When my wife got home after the party, it was a mess. She sent me photos. She called me the idiot for changing the locks without talking to her about it. Keep in mind she did too. Then told me I broke her trust. She wasn't safe in her home because she keeps getting robbed, and I refused to put an end to it. I did talk to my sister. Then my wife let me know she was staying with a friend for a while. Am I the idiot here? I feel like I have tried to right any wrongs that have happened between my wife and my sister. You're the idiot. Why don't you clean after your sister? Have fun being divorced. Easy, you're the idiot. Your wife tried. Even as her clothes got stolen, the house was left a mess, making more work for her and the icing on the cake. Those cinnamon rolls. Those thoughtfully made from scratch rolls for grieving coworkers and some for her family. Made with love and care, no doubt. Only to be scarfed down by careless teenagers using your home for a pool and free stuff. Your sister could have also set stronger rules for her friends or just stop using the pool. Also, why was your sister asking your mom to ask you for the pool? Why not straight to you or her sister-in-law? Why did you assume your mother would be present when she hasn't been any other time with these minors in your home and pool? The liability also boggles my mind. Your wife sounds like a saint. You're the idiot. Your sweet sister abuses and steals from your wife and invites friends around who make a mess and make her feel unsafe. Your wife is so scared she changed the locks to keep your sister and her bad company out. You changed the locks back so your sister and her friends could continue to abuse your wife. Your wife has left you because she doesn't feel safe in her own house or respected by her husband, and instead of solving these problems, you're begging people here to tell you you're not the idiot. Well, you are totally idiot. Update. I talked to my mom again and let her know my sister isn't allowed over without me at home. I asked a friend's wife who is a maid to come deep clean our home. So if when my wife comes home it's clean. The last thing is my mom asked me to help cover my sister's cheer. She is on track for a scholarship. I told my mom I would pay for half of my wife's things to be returned. If not, the money was going to replace the stolen items. Also, my sister was invited to homecoming. She wanted me to buy a dress. I told her no for not following our home rules, and the money I saved for the dress was going to pay for the maid. I did replace the locks again. I also am planning a romantic dinner I will make and clean up. I heard a lot about cinnamon rolls. Someone on here gave me the idea to make them. I am for dessert. Update 2. My sister and my mom left a few minutes ago. My sister had a bag of my wife's things. More than I thought was gone. Most items are in poor shape. The big thing is she had my wife's grandmother's ring I thought was in the safe. I had no idea it was gone. My sister said that she found it on my wife's nightstand during the party. She forgot she had it on when she left our home. The ring isn't valuable, it's just sentimental. I told my mom who the ring belonged to. My mom lost it. My sister is now grounded. Last update. Tonight, my wife is coming home. I am staying at a friend's house. Until we can work some of this out. I already stated it, but I did put the locks back on my wife bought. My family doesn't have that key. My mom called my wife last night and asked what my sister can do to replace the damaged items. My wife said, have her meet me every morning at 5 a.m. I decided to tag along and see what my wife had planned. Trying to support her in whatever punishment she decides to do. You know the cinnamon rolls. My wife's co-worker's 4-year-old is in the final stages of cancer. My wife's plan is for my sister and her to prepare breakfast and get their other kids up and ready for the day. Start laundry and basic cleanup. So her co-worker and his wife can spend as much time as he can with the sick child before work. My sister was silent the whole time coming back home. I can tell it really hit her that her life isn't as hard. Even being grounded. My wife has given me a second chance as long as I follow her list of rules. 1. For a while no family at our home. 2. No family borrowing our things. 3. No one is allowed a key. 4. I help with the chores around the house. Including cooking meals. My wife is okay with me seeing my sister, but asked that we all go to counseling to understand why my sister is targeting her. My wife said all of this has been really hard and she doesn't want to cause more issues, but she just doesn't trust my sister and can't have her using our things.